if you're still here, congratulations. This is the money. This is the complete proven plan that I use to take all my clients from the 200s to the 100s, and it works every single time. Really, it does, assuming that a person actually follows the system and understands it and, gives it time. So let's just get straight into it. I'm going to give you the entire, I call it my dial system, and that'll make total sense whenever I explain it. The first one's going to be kind of cliche though, but I promise it's probably the most important, and that is a new client mindset. Whenever I'm talking to a new client for the first time, I have to make sure they're prepared for what they're going to get into. Whenever they're losing like 100 pounds or 80 pounds or, something big, going from the 200s to the 100s or something like that, it's going to be hard. You can't see these cards. It's going to be hard. And again, I know that's like cliche and you're like, hey, and trust me, I know that I failed 1,000 times. But just be prepared. It is going to be difficult. That doesn't mean it is nearly impossible. It doesn't mean that you can't learn and get better and do it. And I'm going to give you so many tips to make this easier, but it doesn't mean that all of a sudden something's going to be done for you. You still have to put in the work. And as long as you're willing to put in the work, I promise you will get there. So with the mindset, support is crucial. If you have an unsupportive spouse, that's going to be, more difficult. I'm not saying that's impossible. It's more difficult. If they're kind of secretly sabotaging your progress, you might have to have a sit down, talk to, heart to heart with them and talk to them and be like, this is something that's really important to me. You don't have to eat like I eat, but I want you to support me. My wife and I, not that she doesn't support me. But we literally have a locker in our, like a little tiny, like, I don't even know what it's called, like a pantry locker. Just look that up on Amazon. It has a little dial code. For me, it's just peanut butter, man. I cannot resist peanut butter. I lose control. I sleepwalk and eat it in my sleep. I literally can't control it. I've done that for years since I was a kid. I sleepwalk and I eat food. So anyways, she supports me, but that's just a thing that, we do. So there might have to be a sit down, heart to heart, but also having like a community you could join. There's multiple Facebook communities. Weight loss support group is so large that on Facebook, it's not really, I don't think it's super beneficial. So you could find like a more niche one. Like there's a weight loss support group for men. That one's a lot better. But if you're, a woman or whatever, I'm sure you can find like weight loss support group for moms, or find something that people fit your demographic, and it really helps because they experience the same problems that you do. And then of course, like personal training. I am a personal trainer. I train people online. I just want to throw that out there. If you want a personal trainer, just, leave a comment under the video and I'll send you my email and we can talk and I can tell you what it's all about. I do it through online. It's through an app. It's awesome. Anyways, think in a 1 year time frame. That is the frame of mind that I want you to have. I'm not saying that you won't be happy until a year out. You're definitely going to be happy before that. The first 10 pounds, I'm telling you, you feel good. Whenever your clothes start fitting different, you feel good. The ride is fun. It's not just the destination that is fun. I'm telling you, you're going to feel good, and you're going to feel good in your own skin a lot quicker than that. But also, don't plan on reaching your goal in like 3 months. Think in like a year time frame. You might not even reach your goal in a year, but you're going to make such a difference in a year. Not just with weight loss, but like with muscle tone, with your health, how well you're able to move. If you're on medications, there's a good chance you're going to come off some of those medications, for blood pressure or whatever. Talk to your doctor. I'm not giving you advice about that, but I'm just saying like there's a good chance exercise could help you do that. And so, it's amazing what can happen in a year. Give it a year at least, before, getting down on yourself. There's going to be ups and downs throughout your year. Okay. So that's the mindset stuff. Now let's get into the dial system. I'm going to talk you through it and then I'll show you the graph. I don't know what it's called, the illustration. So first, I talk to my clients about diet. That's the first dial. I'm telling you, you might hate this, but food logging is your best bet, at least for a while, but there's a good chance that it's going to be your best bet for years. Understanding what goes into your body is so crucial. There's numerous studies that show that we do not understand, that we're really bad at guessing what we actually eat. I can't tell you how many times people have come in, they tell me they eat 600, 800 calories, and whenever we really look at it, and I make them write everything down, log everything, they're eating far more than that. And so that should give you some power as well, though. Like, it isn't just that 600 calories isn't helping you lose weight, because that would be a situation you'd be stuck. You would need medical help. That would be an anomaly. I've never seen it before. You would need something way more than a personal trainer. But luckily, that's probably not happening. It's probably not your hormones. It's probably not your metabolism. Give yourself the power back. I'm telling you, it is something you can do something about. And that might kind of sting because you're like, well, that means that it's on me. It's not my metabolism's fault. It's my fault. But I want to encourage you that that's a good thing. Whenever it's your fault, whenever you find a way to say, hey, it's my fault, then you're back in control of it. You can take control of that and then do better through everything I'm going to tell you about. So food logging is so helpful. You're going to need a food scale. I think, I didn't put that in any of my cards. So you're going to need a food scale. Basic things like a cookie sheet, a large. I'm telling you, it helps so much. A really large like mixing bowl, something cheap from Target will be fine. Something plastic, something to put huge recipes into. We're going to talk more about that. Okay. So the accuracy of the food log. On food labels, you can start scanning labels. If you go into MyFitnessPal and you go into, I don't know how you feel about this. I guess it could be considered a little unethical. But if you go into MyFitnessPal and you go to more and you're setting somewhere and you tell it that it won't geolocate your phone. If you tell it you're located in the UK, you'll get the barcode scanner for free. So you can start scanning barcodes. You can certainly pay for MyFitnessPal if that's something you want to do. So you can start scanning barcodes. There's other apps that I think you can scan barcodes for free. I think Lose It just made that a premium feature. But still, even if you have to look it up, actually, I should mention this. Even if you don't want to do the barcode scanning thing and, there's a paywall in your way, it won't take long. We don't eat many different foods. If you think of your breakfast, you probably eat 2 breakfasts at most, maybe 3. Lunches, you probably eat, if it's not leftovers, you probably eat, roughly the same 4 or 5 lunches. Dinners, believe it or not, you probably eat the same 20 dinners over and over and over again. Even if you count eating out, I bet you eat the same 50 dinners over and over and over again. There's not many things a typical person eats. So after you log it once or twice, you don't need the barcode feature, like Fairlife milk. Instead of scanning the barcode, I just type in FAI, starting to spell Fairlife, and Fairlife pops up because I've logged it so many times. So it keeps your history. So anyways, don't be discouraged by that, but start scanning barcodes. The food scale is going to be your best friend. Right to the right of like cups, tablespoons, teaspoons, whatever, is going to be grams on almost every barcode besides like milk and ranch and some other things, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. They're rare. So it's going to be, and ranch, by the way, is like roughly 17 grams for 1 tablespoon. So start looking at the grams. If it's peanuts and it's 28 grams for an ounce, or 1 ounce, 1 serving of peanuts, whatever it says, 3 tablespoons, I don't know. Because I don't even look at that stuff anymore. I just look at the grams. So I know that peanuts are 28 grams. I know that peanut butter, I could be wrong here. I think it's 32 grams. I don't eat much peanut butter anymore. I know that the powdered peanut butter from Walmart is 12 grams. I mean, these things are just memorized in my head because I've done it for so long. But, you can look on the food label. So start using those grams. It is so helpful. I have an awesome free resource for you that is called the 30-Day Shape Up Challenge. It's 30 days of 4 habits that I run my clients through that is going to help you get a great start to your fat loss journey. And there's a bonus 5th habit in case you fall off the wagon at all. All my clients love it and it's free. So just scan this QR code here or click the link in the description and I'll send that straight to your email. Okay, the next sub point in this. Low fat ? It is my favorite way. You don't have to eat low fat, but it is my favorite way to increase the volume of your food. Let me just give you like a quick example. It just kind of came to mind with like chili. If you do, a can of black beans, a can of red beans, and 2 cans of chili beans, do a can of salsa or a can of tomatoes, whatever, just a basic chili recipe. I know that's like really stupid, but a basic chili recipe. If instead of adding 80% ground beef, you added 93% or even 97% lean ground turkey, the calories drop way off for the same volume. Imagine adding in onions and peppers, like in a big amount. Maybe 3 peppers, 3 bell peppers, and an entire onion cut up and put in there. And, if you love onion, even more. You could even top it with onion, whatever. I don't know. Anything to increase the volume because there's not a whole lot of calories in vegetables. So you still have to count that in the recipe. But it just makes, like, this bowl of chili is huge. Another example is like Skinny Pop, things like that, the popcorn brands that claim they're healthy. If you look, they're coated in sunflower oil, usually. It's not that I'm against seed oils. I think seed oils are fine. People get passionate about that, but it's not the seed oils, it's the oils. There shouldn't really be oil on your popcorn. It's good without oil. Is it as good? Probably not, but Orville Redenbacher makes, what is it called? It's not Smart Pop. Is it Smart Pop? Yeah, Smart Pop. It's green. It's their green box instead of their typical red box. The volume is insane. The opening of the bowl is like this big. I'm not kidding. It's this deep. It's this big. It's huge. And I make a rule for myself that I can only eat one kernel at a time. It takes me like an hour. It's amazing. 200 calories for the whole thing instead of like a half of a cup or a 3/4 of a cup. It's crazy. Well, it's probably not 3/4 of a cup. I don't know. I haven't eaten regular popcorn in a while, but I think I saw a client eat like a cup and a half, and it was like 200 calories. And this thing is at least 5 cups, 6 cups, at least. It's amazing. So eating low fat tends to be a better option in terms of like a person getting to their goal because they get to eat so much more food than they're used to. So it's for the same calories or probably even a lot less. So anyways, low fat, probably talked about that too long. And then the second point there, protein equals TEF, thermogenic effective food. So eating high protein and low fat tends to be a winning formula that I see. Protein is going to help keep your muscle. It's going to help keep your metabolism so that by the end of losing 100 pounds or whatever it is, fill in the blank for you, you haven't lost a bunch of muscle along with that. And now you have to keep eating like a bird in order to maintain that weight, which no one does, which is why they regain the weight. So keeping the muscle is important. We're going to talk about lifting and stuff. You're going to have to lift as well, lift weights. But eating a lot of protein, 1, will keep you more full. 2, it'll literally sit in your stomach longer. 3, it will keep your muscle. And then 4, the TEF, did I just hold up the 4? The thermogenic effect of food. So you literally burn calories. For every 100 calories you take in, you roughly can only use 70 calories of that if it's protein. So the more protein you eat, you burn more calories. Carbs is like 93 or something like that. Like you hardly, use any, I don't know, maybe it's lower. Maybe it's like 90. Fat is like hardly anything. I don't think it takes much energy to digest or to use fat. So if for every 100 you take in, I'm guessing it's something like 98 calories is what you can use if you eat fat, which you need fat. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying if a higher percentage of your calories can be from protein, that's going to really, really help you. Okay. There's 3 ways of restricting something. You got to restrict something in your diet. If you don't want to track calories, like I was talking about, you could do time or food type, food category. So time would be something like, and try them out. Like one is really going to resonate with you, and that's the one you go with. For me, it is calories for sure. I want to eat anything I want. I want to, sometimes I want to have that bad food and I just log it. Other times I want to make a healthy version of that. So pizza, I'll do like these low carb wraps, and I'll put a layer of cheese and then a wrap on top. So it's like the carb balance wrap. So wrap, layer of cheese, which I measure, another wrap, layer of cheese, pizza sauce. Actually, why did I do that? Pizza sauce, layer of cheese, and then pepperoni, turkey pepperoni. Turkey pepperonis aren't the healthiest, but hey, if I'm craving pizza, it's a good option. And you can have the whole darn thing for like 400 calories. It's ridiculous. So I forgot where I was going with that. Food category. You can eliminate, no, I was on time. So if you might resonate more with, hey, if I just cut off eating after dinner, I lose weight, because maybe a high percentage of your bad choices or your calories in general are after dinner. And so if you do intermittent fasting from, let's say, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., let's say that's your eating window. It doesn't even have to be like, that's not really intermittent fasting. It's like that's like a normal diet. But if you cut yourself off at 5, that could really resonate. You don't even have to track your calories. You just eat higher protein, eat lower fat, and boom, you start losing weight. That could really, now that might not work. That's okay. Maybe you go to a food category where you're heavily reducing, fat. So you can kind of combine this, because now I don't recommend heavily reducing fat. In my diet, I'll eat something like 60, 70 grams of fat a day. Sometimes it goes higher, which is like the minimum for me, for my weight. So, look that up on Google or whatever, but eating less fat is the way that I like to go. And then I combine that with calories. But you might want to completely kick out carbs. Here's the thing. You have to love it. I'm not saying if you white knuckle and you're squeezing, you're just like, I'm not going to eat carbs. I'm not going to eat. That's going to fail. Okay. Pick something that resonates with you. If you want carbs, then try the food logging strategy. If you don't care about carbs at all, then kick them out. Maybe sometimes you're eating carbs just to eat it because you don't have a rule for yourself and you don't really care. And now that you have that rule, it's going to help you lose weight. So pick one of those, go with it. If it doesn't work, pick the other one. Give yourself time here. Think in a year time frame. And then you're not going to like this. Start thinking in 3-year time frames and 5-year time frames. I'm telling you, you can achieve so much if you give yourself time. But you will have so much fun along the way, and you're going to make so much progress along the way. So anyways, let's move on. 3 is exercise. So there's only 2 points here. I'll talk about them. Well, okay, here we go. Lifting. So you have to lift. You don't have to. I'm not your dad, but you should. You should be lifting to keep your muscle. But also because by the end of a weight loss journey, if you don't lift weights and eat enough protein, you're going to lose muscle, and then you're not going to like the shape. So forget like the metabolism side of things, very important, probably most important, but you're not going to like the way you look. You're going to feel skinny fat at the end. You're going to be like, I have to lose even more fat. This is ridiculous just to feel good. And, muscle would have filled in that space. You would have felt better so much sooner. It's just insane what muscle can do, especially with like clothes on, and so it might take a longer for you to look better without clothes on. Well, I should say it's not going to take long for you to look better without clothes on, but for you to get to like your end goal, but with clothes on, whenever you have more muscle, it looks good, and so you're going to love it. You're going to feel confident. It's going to be great. So second one is going to be cardio. I am not on this trend of more cardio equals, I stopped doing cardio. Now I'm losing more weight. Anyone who says that, look at them. They're probably not like you. They're probably a trainer who's 23 years old, who literally is active all day and maybe doesn't need to do cardio. They probably still do cardio though. One, it's healthy for your heart, which I know might not be here and you might not care about that right now, but you will one day. And so please start taking care of your heart, do cardio. But it's also the best way to lose body fat. If you're monitoring, we're going to get to this on the dials. Okay. I cannot wait to show this to you. But if you are monitoring all of these things, the dials, and let's say you're at 2,000 calories and everything else is honed in, your steps and everything, we're going to talk about that. And then you just tweak up the cardio a little bit. That is purely going to come from fat. So typically whenever a person does a ton of cardio and they stop doing cardio and then they start losing weight, I think what usually is happening is they are accidentally, while they're doing cardio, eating too much to kind of, because their body's telling them to eat more because they're doing cardio. And studies have shown that if you burn off like 500 calories from cardio, which isn't typical, so don't think that's typical, but let's just say you did, you might eat back like 250 of that. So yes, there is a compensation effect, but it's not the whole thing. So it's not like the whole thing goes to waste. With that said, if you burn 500 calories of cardio and you're tracking your food and you're eating high proteins, you're eating voluminous food, and you're eating lower fat and all this stuff that I'm talking about, you're probably not going to eat more because you're tracking it and you're knowledgeable of it. And so all of it has to come from body fat. So the 500 calories you burn doing cardio is going to come from body fat. Imagine doing that every single day. You win. Like you don't even have to cut your calories. Your calories are coming from movement. It's beautiful. So now 500 calories might be hard to do every single day, especially at first. So, I'm just giving you an illustration of like the extreme end of that, what you could build up to. Where was I? Cardio. So do your cardio. Lifting, I should go back. You have to lift 2 to 3 times a week is what I would do, total body. That's all I would worry about for now. You can always get into splits later. If you want to get into splits, look at some of my other videos. Or actually, I don't talk about splits a whole lot. So look into like Renaissance Periodization. They're a great channel for that. But people like Greg Doucette online as well, he talks a lot about total body. And I think that's just where a person should be if they're not getting into like optimizing muscle growth. If you want to be a bodybuilder, you might need something a little different. You might need something a little more, like a push-pull leg split or something like that, push-pull split. But total body, 2 to 3 times a week. Start with 2, just because this is new to you, and then build up to 3 if you really want it. That's what I would do. And 2, you could just stick to 2 forever. I would do 3 sets per muscle group per exercise, per muscle group per day. So that'd be 6 sets. Let's say you work out on Monday and Thursday. You lift weights on Monday and Thursday. I would do, chest, back, quads, hamstrings, biceps, triceps, and shoulders. 3 sets each. You could always make that 4 sets. You could always start Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 sets each. That would be 9 sets a week. So anyways, 2 to 3 lifting sessions per week, 3 sets per muscle group per session. Then cardio. I would do 2 to 3 to start, days of cardio, 30 minutes. And then I would build into 5 days of cardio for 30 minutes. And then I think it's cool. So cool to put all this power back in your hand. Then take that 30 minutes and increase it to 40, and then 45, and then maybe even an hour if you feel like you have time. Imagine doing that 5 times a week and adding just 10 minutes to each cardio session from 30 to 40. That's 50 minutes per week. Like that's a whole other cardio session, almost 2 cardio sessions if you're comparing it to the 30 minutes. That's so cool. That you don't have to give more days per week. You just give 10 additional minutes per day. And that really makes that much of a difference. So, and in an hour, if you get fit enough, you could burn, 400 calories, 500 calories in an hour if you really get fit and you're really hustling. So here's how I like to do the cardio. I would do the treadmill or the Stairmaster so that you don't accidentally slow down as you increase the difficulty. So if you're on a bike or an elliptical, let's say you start off at a level 2 and then you increase to a level 4 because you're getting more fit, you might accidentally be slowing down. You'd have to watch your RPMs constantly. It's going to drive your brain crazy. But on a treadmill, if you put it to 3 miles an hour, you have to walk 3 miles an hour. You're going to fall off the treadmill. So if you go from 2%, and let's say in 6 months you're at 8% incline, now you're scorching calories at 8%. You're obviously more fit because you couldn't do that before without holding onto the handrails. Make sure not to hold onto the handrails. And that's true on the Stairmaster as well. But you're burning so many more calories in that same amount of time. Same thing with the Stairmaster. The Stairmaster is a fixed incline, of course, but you have to keep up, with the speed. So if you're on a 2 and you can't keep up with the 4, and then in a month you're on a 3, and then a month you're on a 4, and then a month you're on an 8 or whatever, level 8, you went from level 2 to level 8 in the same amount of time. You're burning, what is that, 4 times the calories because you're moving 4 times as fast. I don't know if it exactly equates to 4 times, but that you get my point. You're moving so much faster that you're burning so many more calories. And you're not accidentally, moving slower, taking it easier in a different way like you could in an elliptical. So now an elliptical is cool though. So if you want to do elliptical or bike, do it. Totally cool. You're still going to get great results. All right. Number 4. I think we're on number 4. We got mindset, diet, exercise, and now tracking progress. So important. I know it's not sexy. It's kind of boring to talk about, but man, it's so important if you're not tracking. So tracking your weight. I highly recommend you track your weight. You build into, if the scale affects you mentally, that's okay. Maybe start with once a week, but build into every day. You're looking for a pattern of weights. It does not matter what that individual weigh-in says. Whether it's false high or it's false low, remember this, it is false. Your body, the scale is probably not telling you exactly what your body weighs that day. So it's false high, false low, it doesn't matter. Whenever you see 17 weigh-ins in a row, are they going down? If they're going down, everything's good. If they're staying flat, then you need to make adjustment. And the adjustment's going to be the dial system that we're about to talk about. We're getting there. We're really close. A second way could be measurements. They change a lot slower, but I would take your measurement at your navel, your belly button, so just straight across your belly button. That tends to be a very high fat area and very, not like you can't build a ton of muscle in that area usually. Like you kind of can on your back, but unless you're a bodybuilder, you're not going to build a ton of muscle there. So even bodybuilders, they get really small waists, So that's mainly a fat area. If you see that going down, you're probably losing fat. And then I would measure your arms. Now, if you carry a lot of fat on your arms, so you'd measure it like the peak point of the bicep. So like right there for me would be where I'd measure. If you're gaining muscle, you usually see that get a little bigger. If you have a lot of fat in your arms, you could see that getting smaller as well, though. So you could also take your neck. So I would take the neck because there's not going to be a lot of muscle gain right here. So if you saw the neck getting smaller and your waist getting smaller, it's pretty good indication that you're losing fat. And then if your arms kind of stay the same size, maybe you're building muscle. It doesn't really matter. You just want to see those going down in general, and your arms might stay the same or even go up, especially if you're a male. The third way, and I just want to talk about this, is scans. So a lot of gyms and a lot of, I think, like supplement superstores and stuff are getting those electrical impedance analysis scanning things. You hold onto the handles and you step onto the metal things, and they send an electrical signal up your leg and from arm to arm, arm to leg. And it's based off how fast the signal goes is how much fat you're carrying. Those are very finicky. I'm not saying they're not useful, especially whenever you log into the machine or whatever, and it gives you like your past like 6 scans. You can see, if you're heading in the right direction. But I wouldn't take any individual scan as gospel truth. It's going to completely, be dependent on your hydration. Never do it after a workout unless you consistently always do it after your workout. But even then, you're not going to be able to control how much you sweat each workout. So I would do it, at the beginning of the day if you can. Definitely before a workout, maybe after work, before your workout, whatever. Scans aren't the best, but they're helpful. One of my favorite ways, but it's slow, is how your clothes fit. Especially, I'll have my clients, whenever they're losing a lot of weight, go get a shirt or something they're excited about. Could be a bathing suit. It could be a shirt. It could be an old shirt that, let's say it was like they wore that shirt on their wedding day after they got married and it was on their honeymoon or something. I don't know. And they can't fit into it anymore. And I'll have them put it on, shove themselves into it, hoping it doesn't, rip. And then slowly they'll start to fit into that. It's very exciting. So, buy something for yourself and hang it somewhere you're going to see all the time. Something that motivates you. I want to fit in that shirt again. I want to fit in that, bikini, whatever. So anyways, but it's slow. So just know that it's slow. The last thing is steps. and I'm going to use this as a good segue into the dials. I don't know if I showed that to you long enough, but I'm going to use this as a segue into the dials. So track your steps. It's not necessarily important to build a bunch of steps, but if you're really low, I think you want to try to shoot for a minimum of 8,000 a day. And 8,000 is good. If you have a desk job, it's hard to get past 8,000. 8,000 is fine. You just want to make sure that as you improve your fitness, and this goes back to like, I'm doing more cardio and I'm not losing weight, and I stopped doing cardio and now I'm losing weight. A person either accidentally eats more whenever they're doing a bunch of cardio, or they accidentally move less, usually a combination of both, and that they end up negating the cardio. So if you're keeping track of your steps and your calories, you're not going to accidentally eat more and move less. So as long as the steps are staying the same, that's the important part. Now, if I cannot figure out what's going on with the client, if I'm like, man, they're doing all the right things, they're just not losing weight, but they're only taking like 7,000 steps a day, I'll really encourage them, man, we really got to try and get that to 9 or 10. If you could get 12,000 steps a day, I get 14,000 steps a day, and I'm extremely active. So I think that'd be hard for a person to do. If you have a very active job, carpenter, landscaping, something like that, you probably get more than me. Nurses, I know they're always like routinely around 18, 19, 20. But a lot of us, a lot of you guys probably are not getting a bunch of steps each day. So it doesn't necessarily matter, but if you can get 10, 11, 12, that's great. Try for that. Don't kill yourself over it though. So the dial system. So we have exercise, steps, calories, and protein. So the reason I draw this, and notice my amazing artwork for sale if you email me. So notice that I try to make them look like dials because I want to use the analogy of dialing them in. So if your exercise is dialed in, you're working out 2 to 3 times a week, you're doing cardio 5 times a week, 4 times. Let's just do something more realistic. Let's say lifting and cardio 2 to 3 times a week each. You're working out like 5 to 6 times per week total, but it's cardio or lifting each day. That's dialed in. You have that right there. Steps, let's say you're honed in at 10,000. You have that right there. Calories, you're eating 2,000 calories a day, 2,200. Type it in online, TDEE calculator, start there, whatever. Doesn't matter because we're going to make adjustments. And then protein. Let's say your protein is 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you have a lot of fat to lose, I would do 1 gram per pound of like ideal body weight. So if you're like 250 and you want to get to 180, I would eat, something like 200 grams of protein. I would try to eat. So let's say that was honed in there. All we have to do, let's say a person was eating 180 grams protein here and they weren't getting great results, and all the other numbers that I just said, were true. I might dial up their protein to 200, dial back their calories to 1,900, dial up their steps to what I said 10,000. Might dial up their steps 10,500 and dial up their exercise to 4 times a week of cardio, and each one is 40 minutes instead of 30 minutes. Notice that I didn't have to drop my calories a bunch in order to lose weight. I didn't have to increase my steps a bunch. I only increased them by 500. I didn't have to increase my protein to an insurmountable amount. I'm just going for 200 instead of 180. And my exercise, I'm not going, to the gym that much more. I'm going an additional day, and each day of cardio consists of 10 additional minutes. So it's not a huge sacrifice. Whenever a person a lot of times people will pick one of these. And if you're still here at this point of this video, what are we at? We're 28 minutes. If you're still here, congratulations. This is the money. So if a person really has all of these dialed in and they're honed in, instead of picking one of them, a lot of times a person will pick one, they'll ratchet it way up, right? So calories, by ratcheting it up, I mean they're actually kind of dialing it down. They'll cut 500 calories out, and then they're suffering, and then they if they're being honest with themselves, they can't sustain that, and then they completely reject it, and then they relapse, and then everything that that I'm sure you've been there. And then you start overeating, and then you gain more weight than you lost, because you suffered your way through it. Or if a person starts taking a bunch more steps, unrealistic, take 15,000 steps a day, let's say for someone, and so now their feet hurt, and then they stop, and then they feel guilty, and then they relapse. Same thing with exercise, same thing with protein. Protein, usually people don't ratchet that super high up, but that's where I like to have those things in. If we can track those, and then the whole time we're tracking our progress with our daily weigh-ins, all you do is you make adjustments. If your weigh-ins are flat, because usually you're not going to be going up in weight, almost never. If a person is actually giving effort, are they going to go up in weight? If they are, let me know. I can help you in the comments. Let me know. But if you're flat, I would just change each one of those dials a little bit. Dial back your calories by 100. Dial up your protein, unless it's already like at 1 gram per pound of body weight. Dial up your exercise just a little bit. Dial up your steps just a little bit. You can reach all of those if you do just a little bit more. And then you're going to have this compounding effect. It's going to be great. I think you're going to get results right away. Now, if you're weight was already going down, please don't dial them up. You don't want to go faster. I promise you, you don't want to go faster. You've done that before, haven't you? This time go slow so that the habits and everything you've learned sticks in your heart this time. I don't know, I'm missing something. I know it's not in your heart, but you learn it, and you're having fun with it, and it's healthy, and you're not suffering because it's permanent. If a person loses 100 pounds over the course of, now this is not, you don't have to wait 5 years. I'm just giving you an example. If a person loses 100 pounds over 5 years and they stay there, that is so much faster than losing 50 pounds every year and yo-yoing back up 55 pounds. One person is 25 pounds heavier after 5 years. One person is 100 pounds lighter. The total swing is 125 pounds lighter than the other person because they took time with it. So that goes all the way back to the mindset.